In this Red Gaming Tech video, we are here to discuss some yet more comments from the Nvidia CEO Hsun Huang. He has, of course, been quite the chatty fellow ever since the Nvidia conference the other day, in which, of course, the main reveal was the Tesla Volta GV100. If you haven't seen my video on that, there'll be a link on the screen right about now. If you want to go check it out, I highly recommend you do so. Some other stuff there about some deep learning and whatnot as well. But today's focus is his response to some comments from the analyst Vivek Arya, who is a member of the Bank of America. And basically, Vivek's question was about whether or not Nvidia was seeing the number of gamers and cards grow, and whether or not these gamers would continue to be going for premium products. You know, how long did Jensen foresee the sort of premium market withstanding? And he had an interesting response, and it's come as a surprise to you, but it seems that Jensen considers the brand of GeForce more like a game console, where the actual selling price, or average selling price should I say, is actually lower than actual consoles that are on the market. You might wonder, well, how can he see it as a game console? It's a bit strange. It's obviously not a game console, but let's just get to his comments, shall we? Quote, "The average selling price of the Nvidia GeForce is about the third of a game console." That's the way to think about it. That's the simple math. People are willing to spend $200, $300, $400, $500 for a new game console, and the Nvidia GeForce GPU PC gaming card is on average far less. There are people who absolutely demand the best, and the reason for that is because they're driving a monitor, or they're driving multiple monitors at a refresh rate well beyond a TV. So if you're 4K, or you're on 120Hz, or some people even driving it to 200Hz, these kind of displays demand a lot more horsepower to drive than an average television, whether it's 1080p or 4K at 60 frames a second or 30 frames a second. And so the amount of horsepower they need is great. That's just because they really love their rig and they're surrounded in it, and they just want the best. But the way they think about it is that ultimately that's the opportunity for us. I think GeForce is a game console, and the right way to think about that is that at an equivalent ASP of some $200 to $300, that's potentially an opportunity ahead for GeForce. Now obviously he's not talking about your 1080 Ti's or your 1080s here, he's talking about the lower to sort of low mid-range of the GPU market. That is the sort of rough bracket that would roughly be comparable to consoles in terms of pricing. But what's more interesting, I find, is his next comments, and it kind of drives home that even in the PC gaming market, or even the PC market to be more broad, it all comes down to the games. You know, having the power is real pretty, but if you've got nothing to play on it, you kind of get my point. But I'm not going to fluff too much in the preamble. Let's see what he has to say, and then we can kind of dissect it a little bit. He said, quote, "When we think about GeForce, there are these parameters involved. How much of our install base has upgraded to Pascal? How much of our install base is growing? How is gaming growing overall? Whether the driving dynamics of gaming, whether it's team sports or mobile, or using games for artistic expression. It's related to the AAA titles that are coming out. Some years the games are just incredible. Some years the games are less incredible. These days the production quality of the games has become systemically so good that we've had for years now of blockbuster hits. So these are really the dimensions of it. And then it's overlaid on top of it with some seasonality, because people do buy a graphics card and game consoles for Christmas and the holidays. And there are international holidays where people are given money as gifts, and they save up money for a new game console or a new game platform. And so a lot of ways our business is driven by games, so it's not unlike the characteristics of the rest of the gaming industry." And to be honest, he's not wrong. Obviously, PC as a platform is less tied to games, because obviously I can use my PC for whatever I want, pretty much. I can use it for my work, content creation, obviously. But you know, say you work with Maya, or you work with Blender, or you're a developer. You know, you're a coder, even. All sorts of applications for a PC. Obviously, these sort of people that aren't gaming aren't going to be buying a 1080 Ti anytime soon. But you kind of get my point. It isn't just gaming on the PC. But when talking about PC gaming, which obviously we are, it all comes down to the games, and obviously there's more and more good games coming out on PC the last few years. You know, we are seeing overall pretty good ports coming, and obviously games that aren't ports, games that are built for PC first and then ported to console later or whatever. So it does very much come down to the games. I do agree with Jensen here. You know, it's all great to have the power and everything. As I keep saying with, you know, consoles like the Pro and the Scorpio, all this power is, you know, great. I'm glad to see it. But really, it comes to the games, because without the games, it's just a massive, expensive paperweight, essentially. So overall, the health of the gaming industry, especially on PC, is important to everybody. Obviously, you know, for years people said, "Oh, PC gaming is dead," and obviously we've seen that is so not the case with studies and reports and blah blah blah, and obviously just anecdotal data, and the amount of people getting into PC is obviously increasing because the cost is not what it was. It's still fairly pricey, but you know, you can get a decent rig for fairly cheap nowadays. So basically my point is that I agree with what he's saying here, that, you know, overall it does come down to the games to really make use of the hardware, and we have thankfully seen that happen a lot of the time, especially on PC. So I would say the console comparison is an interesting one. I mean, I wouldn't have made that comparison myself, given that the GeForce brand encompasses so many different cards, you know, especially for Nvidia. When you go, you know, even if you go back a few years, even you've got some decent cards that you could argue are still usable nowadays. So that was an interesting comparison, I think, and that's what made me want to discuss this, because I didn't really take this perspective before. But to be honest, it's an interesting one, and one that I can't really say I disagree with, because, well, with the comments posed here by Jensen, I kind of have to go, you know what, that's a good point. It is very interesting to think of a graphics platform, whether it be AMD or whatever, similar to that of a console. So, with all that said, let me know your thoughts and opinions on this, guys. Your support is always appreciated. Do remember to like and subscribe if you haven't done so already, to help out a great deal, and I'll see you next time.